Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Tech Down Over. And I'm in charge again, and with the co-host Rick Zanardi over there in California. Well, more after this. And we're back. So they didn't see you waving and all that in there. So
no,
what is that you've got in your hand?
I was doing this. This is a camera.
Is it a GH4?
Yes.
Oh, you tried to trick me, didn't you?
Yeah, I was gonna say I got a prop for you. I think it's gonna be out next week.
Well, hopefully.
I talked to Larry at Sammy's yesterday, and he goes, I think next week. I go, cool. Maybe like end of the week.
Well, here, the not even promising here March, they're promising April. So.
April. Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't know if they're starting out with Japan or the U.S. It's hard to say but supposedly end of next week, be very first. I think it's end of March. So maybe by Friday or Monday, or Friday or Saturday, it's going to be out. He said he thinks they'll have them next week.
Well, well, hopefully it would be, because they're saying late March, but that would be probably the best way, because the US would obviously be the biggest demand for them so it would be best to get that out there straight away. So
yeah, there's a lot of pre-order. He said the pre-orders are enormous. There's quite a bit.
Well, hopefully
I've been watching. I was watching Hugh Brownstone yesterday, and he did a video with the GH5. He has a 1 week. He didn't get his real one yet. He had a 1 week evaluation copy, and he went to a jazz bar, and he's taking photos first, fairly dark, and not photos, but a video, and it just looked amazing. Absolutely amazing. Especially there's one part. First, the guy's very well lit, and he's playing piano, and then they switch to where he's about half lit, and frankly, it looked great. It just looked, and even Hugh was just beyond himself. He's like, wow. I think it was more than he even expected, and truly, it's a great camera. It is, I think, going to live up to all the things that they said about it. So it's going to be very interesting.
Well, that's what I've got.
But I'll tell you, for a Micro Four Thirds camera, it is looking darn good. And I've been shooting a lot with my GH4 the last 2-3 weeks, just kind of prepping again to get into it. And I tell you, this camera is still my absolute favorite in terms of ergonomics, the way it feels in the hand, the way it's not too heavy. And the GH5 is going to be about 15% larger and maybe heavier. So a little bit heavier, but not much. This is definitely not that heavy. But this feels more like a DSLR than it does a little Micro Four Thirds. So with the battery grip, it just has a wonderful heft to it. I do really like this.
And I've also, as you said, you've been going around with the GH4. I've been playing around with the FZ1000. And as I said, I just love that form factor. And I just love the way Panasonic has all its dials, and that it's easy to find.
They're so convenient.
Yep, they really are so convenient. There's plenty of menus, but even the menus are quite simple to get to.
Right.
But a lot of the things you can get to quite easily from just I like that wheel on there, where you just press the wheel and it changes whether you're going to do the f-stop, the control, everything.
Well, yeah,
on
you
there.
have your top. Your top does the exposure.
Yep.
Your back wheel does the shutter, and then you have your ISO button, just like a Canon, up here. It's just extremely convenient. You've got the autofocus. You have the 3 switch here, where you've got manual focus, continuous focus, and autofocus. A single autofocus. I mean, this is so easy to use, and you can back focus just by pressing that button, and now you got to focus back here. So it's very, very straightforward. Nice camera. I found that whenever I'm shooting with this outside or indoors, wherever I'm at, it's fairly easy to just make the controls work. And the screen is good. It's a 3-inch screen. The new one has a 3.2-inch screen. Plus, it has, I think, a 3.6 million dot OLED, which I haven't heard anybody said it's not the best OLED they've ever seen on a camera. So paints to be a very, very good camera. I'm also looking forward to one new lens that is coming out, and that is the 12 to 60 millimeter, which is, there's two versions of it. There's the cheaper one, which is the kit lens.
Yep.
That's about a $400 lens, or maybe $450. A very good lens. But I'm looking at the Leica, I think it's a Summilux 2.8. So the other one is a 3 point, I think 6 to 5 point something or other. The Leica version is 2.8 to 4.0. So it's going to be sharp all the way through, and it's the 12 to 60 millimeter. It just looks like a beautiful lens. Digital OIS, so the optical image stabilization. And that's a really good video and photo lens. It just looks awesome. Very, very nice lens. This lens, in essence, is the 24 to 70 millimeter lens.
Okay.
The 12 to 35. That's a very good lens as well. I really enjoyed this. This is the first generation. I think there's a newer one that came out that doesn't extend, like this one will extend. The other one does not. It's all built in. So, I've been pretty happy with the lenses on the Panasonic line. So, no complaints there.
The one that they're talking about here, well, they do have a kit for the GH5, but the one that they're talking about for the kit here is the f2.8. It is the better one by the looks of it, because that's what. It better be, because of the body without. Well,
if it is $800. I heard it's only going to be $100 more. And I went, that's a steal, because that's a $900 lens.
Well, it is to here with when you look at the GH5 here, it's about it works out about $850, because the kit is 3698 and it's 2848 without that lens, so it works out to about $850 for that lens. But it is definitely.
So they do charge you that much more for it.
It definitely is the f2.8. But I thought,
you save about 100 and something.
But it's well worth it to have the best one. And I'm thinking, if you're going to get that, if you get something like that, you've got the best of everything, because you've got the anti-shake on the lens as well as on the body. It's designed to do the best. You've got the 5-axis. It's designed to do the best you're ever going to get on that. So you definitely won't be disappointed if you get that one. But I've been looking as well, keeping in touch with all, seeing all the videos with Kai Wong doing all the GH5 and f-stoppers.
I like Kai Wong too.
And Gordon. What's his name?
I watched that Gordon Lang review you told me about last week. It was good.
And it's really good. Even Tony Northrup did one as well. But another good one, which was more like a webinar, was Photo Joseph. Did you see him?
I don't think I've seen him.
He does a lot. He's a Panasonic luminary, he said. So he even says in his thing, he says, I'm definitely Panasonic bias, because they're sponsoring me. But he went through and did a whole hour thing, and he went through every menu, hooked it up to the screen and did that. So that was really good to see all the different menus. And it's quite strange when you're looking for a new camera. I found out some things about my FZ1000 that I didn't know it did before.
Right.
Like the time lapse. I knew it had time lapse, and I thought, I can't be bothered doing that, stitching them all together, so I've left it. But then when there was talking about the GH5, it says, well, when you do the time lapse on that, when you finish it, it says, do you want to create a video out of it? And it does that.
That's nice.
But it does that on the FZ1000 as well, and I never realised it did that. So I thought, gee, they're so intelligent, and what it does in the camera, which is great. If you do it, doing it in RAW, it gets all your 500 or 800 images in the RAW, creates a little video, does another file in there so you can see the movie, but also when you're viewing it in the camera, when it knows that it's a time-lapse sequence, so you can just play all the 500 shots, so it'll just flick through one by one, rather than you having to press that forward button all the time to do that.
I think what Panasonic does every time they come out with one of these, and it looks, for a while they have you thinking they're not going to come out with one. It's taking forever. What are they doing? And then they throw down the gauntlet. Here, beat us. And they come up with I was reading that they have some features that are in $20,000, $30,000 cameras on this little camera. So they're saying it's just amazing. It's even got, what is that? You've got meters. You've got, it's got meters, which is pretty amazing. You've got, what do they call that?
Vectorscopes or something. It's
The scopes. I'm sorry,
yeah,
scopes. That's what I was thinking. It's got scopes. I mean, in a camera of that size and price,
focus
that's
peaking,
unheard of.
focus peaking, and all the great things that you'd get in the more advanced cameras and that.
Yeah. Well, they've always had bleh. They've always had focus peaking on the Micro Four Thirds, so they're pretty amazing at that. They've had that for a long time, and it works really well if you're doing manual focus or manual focus assist. It just zooms it right in. You can see exactly how. I mean, at the pixel level, you can literally see how sharp it is, and then you got it. You've got your focus. So, and I was watching Hugh and a couple of other people, and they were saying, you know, I didn't know if it was going to be that fast. It's fast, and they're going, it's fast. The focus is very, very fast. So they're pretty happy with what they're seeing, and I think it's going to be probably another massive hit for Panasonic. They sit back, they watch. It looks like they're not going anywhere, and all of a sudden, boom, they have it. And they have their, I guess, quote unquote evangelists or whoever they are. They got Sean and another guy. These are the guys who always show, talk about the camera and stuff. I think they both have beards. And it's funny because they're sort of almost smug sometimes. They have this kind of, I know it's coming out. They have that look like, I know it's coming out. You're not going to believe it. And I think that's what they're doing. They're coming out with stuff that's pretty darn amazing. Now, we do lose the flash. Well, so this one has a flash. The new one you're going to have to get if you use a flash. I don't use flash often.
No.
Like this one has, if I turn it on, this one has the flash. Where am I? There we go. So that's the flash on this one. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, that's right. Same as the
that's gone.
1000.
That's gone. There is a hot shoe, which you can put other things in, but you'd have to get an external flash or a hot shoe flash. It does not come with one. They decided to get rid of it, which is sort of interesting. They've added so much, but they did get rid of the flash. So if you're a flash shooter, you're going to have to get your own flash. That's the one thing that they're...
The thing is, I've got with the FZ1000, I've always disabled that so it doesn't pop up, and so I don't do it. And the only thing that flash is good for is occasionally for a still shot if you want to get rid of a little bit of a shadow. Sometimes it's like you would
it's like a little filler.
A proper flash, you'd probably want to bounce it off the so that can't do it. So if any time where you really need a decent flash, and let's face it, a lot of the times if you're doing videos where you need lighting, well, as I said, the flash is no good anyway, and it's predominantly a video camera, isn't it? So and these days, I don't know about you, but unless you're really good with the flash, those little ones just make people look like vampires, or all shocked in the light.
Ideally, you have to also do the flash compensation, so you're not too bright, not too dark, and a lot of people just never adjust the flash. So as a result, they get full shot of the flash, and you're white. It's just like a ghost.
And it always amazes. I always get a laugh when you say in Griffith Park at the observatory there, standing out there, and you see all the people taking pictures with the flash over Los Angeles, and I thought, really?
I know. And they think they're going to light up the whole city.
I said, if it's going to do that, it would nuke everybody, wouldn't it? If it was that powerful.
Yep.
But I thought they have the flash.
We're talking atomic flash.
But it just does amaze me, like when they go to concerts and they've got the flash going and said they've got millions of dollars worth of lighting on the stage.
It's going to go to infinity.
But they said they've got $1 million worth of lighting on the stage, so people can see it. The camera will pick that up. It's not.
I know.
It's extremely good lighting.
Well, speaking of flashes, let's change the subject a little bit. Coming out in about less than a month now, it sounds. In about another week, April 2nd, supposedly, Samsung is coming out with the new Samsung Galaxy S8, which looks like it's going to be amazing. There'll be two versions of it. One, I think, is a 5.7-inch screen, and the other one is a 6.2. But what they've done is they've taken the bevels and all this, and they made the screen just go to the edges. So the phone is no bigger than a normal phone, but it's now 6.2 inches. Oh. So you get a really large screen without making your phone larger, which I think is brilliant. Now, this is going to be interesting. Will Samsung get their quality control act together and not explode these? Because, I think at this point, buying a Samsung is a little bit of an act of faith, because they have had some pretty bad QA. in the near past. And you know, the funny thing is the Samsung management are the ones who blew it. They're the ones who forced engineering to put it out fast, but not one of them took the fall because they're all the guys on top. So there's no accountability there. Interesting on Samsung's part, bad management. Because frankly, the people who called for that should have been probably canned. And you're rushing out a good product just to beat Apple, who's all screwed up in their own way, and they're not even bothering to take any responsibility for what actually happened. So you just kind of go, okay, well. But I am interested in it because it's still way better than half the other phones I've ever had. And so it's going to be interesting. That's coming out. I think pre-orders are going to be April 2nd, and then you'll be able to buy the phone. Mm-hmm. You can pre-order it. I think it'll arrive before the 20th of April or somewhere around there in the States. Other places may get it earlier or later, just depending on how they roll things out worldwide. But that's coming out. And I wanted to tell you something. We recently bought, this is tech, so I'll talk about it. We bought a new washer-dryer set recently. Yeah. We had a really old one. It was about almost 25 years old. I mean, both of them. The washer, I think the dryer was a little newer, but not by much, maybe 5 years. And they were getting really old, and we wanted something newer. So we went to Best Buy, and we know one of the guys there, and he said, and I said, I don't want the same old junk. I want something better. And he goes, LG. I go, LG? LG. So he takes us to the LG. I look at it. I fall in love with it in 1 second. It looks beautiful. Everything is so beautifully engineered on that LG, and it's totally electronic. It's literally electromagnetic. Everything, the way the engines run, you can hear it's that electromagnetic hum. It sounds like a quiet subway taking off, and boy, can it go fast. And like the top, you can let it go, and it just kind of goes down by itself. Everything is eased in. It's super fast, super quiet. It takes half the time of our old dryers to dry or to wash. It's just amazing. Before when you put clothes in, first it balances itself. So it does a couple of spin cycles just to make sure everything's balanced in there, and then it just takes off. It's literally almost supersonic at the speed it goes. It is very fast. And then the dryer, and it's all just push buttons. You push, you have a big LED screen, you say go higher, go lower. It takes seconds to set up, and then you're done. The thing is amazing watching. I've never thought I'd enjoy watching a washer actually spin. It's like so cool watching that because it's so quiet.
But it's amazing what tech is out there as well, isn't it?
I know.
So, with you saying about your the new Samsung phone coming out, I said I know the quality is going to be good because every time I turn on the television here, there's a Samsung ad showing a robot prodding and poking all the phones and bending them and saying we're our quality control, we're checking everything, and that we're doing.
So they are doing
propaganda. I've seen a lot of
damage control.
So they've seen all this one with thousands of phones going through these stress check, and they're poking them and trying to bend them and doing all that. They had a little thing here that was showing on the news about an iPhone that sort of went funny, but I thought it wasn't quite fair because it was these two people opening the phone and not doing the right thing, poking it, and then and it wasn't because of the iPhone, it was just these lithium-ion batteries. If you poke them and pierce the skin,
right,
and that was the difference with the Samsung sort of did it in that, but these people were just actually, they must have done it wrong. It just sort of went up with them there, but it's quite strange. Have you seen what other than apart from the phones and that, have you seen what they've done with the airlines are saying going into your place there? You're not, if you come out of Qatar, Emirates, or any of the countries that you don't like, you're not allowed to take a laptop, camera, iPad, or anything on the plane. It's got to be checked into your luggage. So people, if you've gone to one of those airports, you can't have it in there. So if you're doing that, you're not going to be able to use your laptop and all that. So just getting.
I'm not one of my destinations anytime soon, so I guess I'm okay.
No, but it's also a bit worrying though if it's not. But say if you're coming back from there and you happen to be going via there and you don't realise, and then
Yep.
as I said, it's going to be a pretty boring flight if you can't have your iPad there and you can't have your laptop, especially if you're a business person, because you said
Right.
you usually use those 15 hours or something to do a lot of work on that. But it's really makes a big
that's
difference
true.
on that one there.
Hey, in about a month, I'm finally going to go on. I've been dying to go on one of these. The Boeing 787 Superliner or the
okay, they're
Dreamliner.
the new ones. Oh, that would be where you go.
I finally get. It's only
that's
one
a good-
stretch. It's from Dallas back to Los Angeles.
Oh, that would be a
But
decent one. That's
Leslie
good.
booked the flight and goes, "What's a 787?" I go, "Book it,
Oh,
book it,
book it. It's a new one.
So we
That's
got it.
good.
We actually got a first class upgrade on that one, and it. Now, the only thing I don't like is that we're not in the regular cabinet in first because we're actually a business. Because what they do is they give you pods again.
All right.
Now they look like they're very modern pods. They're newer than the ones we were in that last time. So I'm not crazy about the pod, but I'm dying to go on that plane. It is such a beautiful plane. That's the one that has the electrostatic windows where you just press the button and it makes it darker or lighter.
Yeah, so that's fine. But it will be interesting to see hear from you what other things, because with them it's not just it's just all the technology in the seats.
There's a lot of technology. Supposedly
do.
there's an upstairs lounge.
Oh.
I've never been in one of those, so I think we get the right to go upstairs and see what the lounge is. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like. So if we don't like the pods, we can just go upstairs. So they have a small upstairs. It just looks like a beautiful plane. I think it's the one that replaces the 767, but quite a bit different. It's the same configuration, 2 large engines, and it carries about 300 something people. But it looks so open. The seats are different. They're not so bulky and heavy. They have lighting everywhere, mood lighting. So when you take off, you have different lights and different daytime, nighttime lights. It's just very pretty lighting. And when you walk into the plane, you walk into a big rotunda, and that takes you to whatever section you're in. So it's not like walking through a tight corridor and you have to go back to your. So I've been dying to fly on that plane, and American didn't have a lot of them. I guess they bought some recently, and we're flying American. And on the last leg getting home, it's Dallas to Los Angeles. I can't wait for that one. That's going to be a fun one to be on.
But that's about a three and a half hour flight, isn't it?
2:45 to 3.
So that's good. So you get a decent one, but it's quite nice to have a good plane for that, because I know I've been from Los Angeles to Orlando, and then you get stuck on the crummiest plane where you've squashed in
little piece of crap planes
for 5
it's
hours,
commuter planes,
and you don't mind for an hour to San Francisco.
Go far, but who wants to go far in that?
But you said you don't mind if it was San Francisco or Las Vegas, where it's about an hour, but being stuck on it
not
for
4.5.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And the last time I went, I did something wrong with my iPad. Instead of I wiped it all instead of put all the movies on, so I had nothing to watch, and there was no entertainment. So you just had to sit there staring at the picture of where the plane was going for 5 hours.
Wow. Yeah, they said on the Dreamliner that you have I don't know, like 500 movies available to you. An enormous amount. It's all digital.
Yeah, it's incredible. Now, also as well, Rick, I've had my eye on. I just saw a new tripod that we're looking at in there. It's
the Manfrottos?
No, it's this one here. It's sort of I don't know what it's called. The HFMP. I don't know, from Liebeck. It's like a monopod, and it's a really good sort of one where it's got a click on the bottom, so you can angle it. So what you can do is do it like that. So lean out with it, and that on the monopod, it's got the little legs on it. But it looks like it's a really good sort of.
I can do that with my Benro.
Yeah, but this just looks really nice and strong though with the legs on. But the Benro is just as good, I think. But it's.
I have a similar one. I'm not sure how the legs are, but the Benro legs are similar, and they come out, and you could actually lean it forward. You can turn. It has a head too. It has the Benro fluid head on it, so you could actually turn the head or turn the whole stick. It just because there's a joint at the bottom, you could just turn the whole thing, and it's not bad. It works okay. You know, when you're holding a monopod and then you've got the head, you have to be careful you don't hit yourself with it, because the stick is pretty long.
And this one,
or the handle is pretty long on the fluid head. But it's the same fluid head, I think, that's on your and my tripods.
And how much was your Benro?
That tripod, that monopod was about $250.
Yeah, well, that's what these ones are worth. With the head is about $259, so quite similar.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just like the Benro. It just looks nice.
They're not bad. Now,
really
Manfrotto's
nice.
getting really good reviews on their new ones, Be Free or something free. I can't remember. They look nice. They're considered good travel tripods, and not actually tripods. These are tripods. They're about also $250 to $300, but they actually look very nice. One of these days I'll probably get one, but they look very decent. Not too heavy, flexible. So they've got some nice features in that. And that's the brand new line from Manfrotto. I think they're finally getting less bulky, because they were always known to be good. I have an older Manfrotto that's great, but it weighs like 25, 30 pounds, and it's heavy. It's thick. It's nice, but it is big. You can't just take it anywhere.
No, and that's what I do like with those monopods. They're easy to set up, and you can move, just grab them and take them. And it's like pretty much like having a cheap another Steadicam, because if you're just filming with your camera holding onto the monopod, it really is nice and steady, because with the way the cameras are made, with the anti-shake, and like this Panasonic, even handheld, it does a good job. So imagine if you were just holding it onto a monopod, it'd be fantastic.
It'll look great.
And the thing is, I love my tripod, but I'm still very lazy. I thought, no, I can't be bothered. I've got to open it up, do the thing, move it. So you never take the damn thing out. Whereas a monopod, you can have it. It's not in the way. There's not feet getting in the way all the time. You've got those little feet, so it will steady it, so you know what is straight on there. So that's really good on that. So I'm really thinking about getting one of the better monopods. I've got one of the cheap ones, but that one there that you saw, that's only available in 2 places in America by the looks of it, like EVS Online in Glendale. That's near
that's not too far from us.
Buenos
About an
Aires.
hour from
It's
me.
near the Buenos Aires Grill, isn't it? Isn't that Glendale?
Not far from it.
That's Glendale, isn't it?
No, Glendale. No, that's the Buenos Aires Grill is at Northridge.
Northridge, I knew. Oh, that's right.
But you go a little further. It's about another probably 20 minutes, and you're in Glendale.
Oh, so around that area to get that one there. But there's always plenty of these things to keep you going. Also, as well, what I've done this week, I've invested in something. It's not quite tech, but it's what we do here is we do these shows, and obviously we want the sound to be as good as possible. And in the studio here, sometimes I get a bit of noise from out the side. Just before we started, there was all these birds chirping and making a hell of a racket, and then they went. But I've invested in some shutters on the windows, some aluminium shutters that's supposed to cut out about 70% of the external sound as well. So that would be.
Did it work?
Oh, I haven't. I've paid for them. They're not installed yet. So
okay,
I'm getting them on this one here and a couple of other rooms and the living room area, because also as well it insulates a place, it keeps the heat out and keeps the warmth in. So there goes another nice 10K for that and some other blinds. So but it's well worth all these electric ones, and also gives you a little bit of security as well. But one of my main things was good for in here, so it will block out a lot more, because the sound's pretty good in here as well. It's only when
it's pretty clean.
pretty much a car or somebody has a lawnmower, but that will cut out.
I don't think I've ever heard any noise. Not even the dog, when he was howling outside, you could hear him.
No, it's not. The only time, and William's been good today, he's not snoring today. So, and with that, I've had my eye. The fellow who came across with the blinds, he says, I've got a dog, but it's a very unusual dog. You might not know about it. He showed me a picture of his dog. I'll just see if I can get this one up. Let's see if I can get this up and show you. So, like that. Can you see that one? It's a huge. Let's see if I can get that up. Can you come up there? Oh, let's see if I can.
What is it?
It's a black Russian Terrier.
Interesting.
A black, and they're huge. If you see that picture on there, that's a fully.
It's kind of like an Irish Wolfhound, isn't it? Size-wise,
it's about that sort of size. But and he said you might not know. I said, you know what? It's strange. I met about a couple of months ago, I was going riding with my bike and stopped off to have a coffee at this coffee shop and sat down drinking me coffee, and then there was a push into my side, and just like a wet thing. I thought, what's that? There was this huge dog pushing his nose against me because his owner had gone in.
Was it pretty friendly?
Yes, his owner had gone inside to have a coffee, and he told him to stay. But he said they're pretty friendly, and they don't like being alone. So he came to see me. But I thought they're lovely.
So you better watch out. Now you're one of Putin's agents.
Oh well, there's black Russian terrier, but the combination of quite a few. But it's strange how one thing leads to another. Like you get the technology, want some blinds to do that, then you end up thinking about animals again, which really strange.
Interesting.
That on there. So. But I've also been doing this week is trying to get in a bit more into the music side, and with my new keyboard, and I've come to the conclusion now that with the keyboard sometimes it's better. I can do my stand where I can stand up. I'm having much more fun standing up doing it rather than sat down at the keyboard.
Interesting. Okay.
And it just, I thought, I don't mind doing it, but I thought, I hate just sitting there for an hour. And today I thought I was there for about 3 hours practicing and doing that. And it was amazing how much different when you can stand up. And as you said, you just sat down, you just don't seem to be, you slouch a little bit, whereas when you stood up, you can't slouch when you're standing up.
Well, no, but what you can do when you're sitting down is you play and then you kick it with your foot. You bring your foot up, like who was it? Roy Orbison, one of those guys used to do all the time. Jimmy Ray, somebody.
Also, Peter Allen used to do that, didn't he?
Peter Allen did that too.
Okay. When my baby goes to Rio, that's what I always remember. He used to, but I can't do that without playing the piano. So I'm definitely going to be able to do that. While I'll end up doing that and kicking the keyboard over, and it's a bit too expensive. But also, what I've been using as well, I've got with as far as technology goes, there's a website you can subscribe to called Flowkey, and what they have a lot of the songs where in the piano music, but it's got a thing where you say, I want to learn that, and go on the wait mode, and so it won't go on until you've played the notes, and you can do left hand, right hand, but a lot of them just they'll work off an iPad, so it will listen to the note that you've played, and then won't move on until that. Sometimes that's okay, but it's not perfect. But with a proper keyboard and a USB cable, you can connect straight through the MIDI, and there's no chance it can think you press the wrong note because it goes straight into the computer. But that makes a big difference to your playing when you're learning a piece and being able to play it properly. But when it says, "No, I'm waiting," you haven't played the right note, even with both hands. Have you
ever watched Herbie Hancock on YouTube?
Yes.
He does a lot of videos on how he sets up. He was in the forefront of electronic and digital music back when it was starting out, and he's pretty amazing. Some of the stuff he puts together, the chain of instruments and everything, it's pretty cool watching what he does.
And I watched him because he was one of the ones who convinced me as well, because he's got a Korg Kronos. He loves it because it's got one of the best things, and it's got I reckon the best piano sound I've ever heard from an electronic.
Can you even tell? It sounds just real, doesn't it?
It's just so, but just the feel of it though as well just feels like a piano. It's got the full 88 keys, but it's got the thick keys. It's the heavy touch, and it's really just like a piano. So but it's one of these things I've really got to get into learning all the buttons, because it's got.
So do you have it set up where you have your Yamaha on the bottom and the other one like on top?
No, because I just can't. It'd be too high, and that's fine if I'm just playing. But when you're learning with the piano, I want it at proper level, or else my hands will be in the wrong level for it. But it's but that's why I've got that up higher. But I've got the Yamaha on the other side of the room, because they're both different types of units. Really, they do a different job. But yeah, maybe I will put it together sometime. Anyway,
Now, did you remember Kitaro?
Kitaro.
He was a Japanese guy. He was pretty popular in the 70s, 80s, and he played organ and piano, and he did a lot of digital music and stuff. It was pretty cool. A lot of space kind of music. He was very popular back then. I think he's still around, but he's definitely older now. But yeah, Kitaro, Kitaro, and some of his stuff was good. But these long songs, and it was just very pretty, orchestral kind of stuff.
And some of these people are just so damn talented, because you just see them. And I know the keyboards do a lot for you these days, but when you get somebody like that can really, really play, and then the advantage of all the technology.
Like I know, it's amazing.
These ones just make it sound like a whole orchestra's there, because the way you can set it up, if they set it up right, and it's just fantastic. And you think, I'm glad I'm not an orchestra, playing in an orchestra, because they say, well, all they need is a good keyboard player, and they've got pretty much everything. They said they usually have a drums, a keyboard, and a guitar player. That's pretty much everything you need, and you can do. You can pretty much do everything. And if the drummer goes, you can pretty much figure it out and program it on the.
I was listening to a little bit of John Lord, who was I guess, really the leader of Deep Purple from the 60s and 70s and 80s, and they're still playing today. They're pretty ancient. Well, John Lord died, I think, several years ago, but he was classically trained, and he was the keyboardist, but he also wrote a lot, composed a lot of it, and he did one I'll never forget, which was in the 70s, and it was Deep Purple with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and it was a combination of the Royal Philharmonic Classical with Deep Purple doing the heavy metal rock, and it was really a pretty cool combination of the two. But he could play just about anything, and he would go from a kind of a rock to a more mystical kind of feel to it, to more classical. So it was that whole fusion of the styles. And like somebody once said, heavy metal is really nothing more than Wagner. It's listen to Wagner and you listen to heavy metal, it's the same stuff. It's just sort of fun listening to that and seeing, how the music's changed, evolved or devolved, if that's what some people think. It kind of goes both ways.
It really does change a lot. Anyway, well, I forgot to mention, this was show number 112. Gee, we're getting 112. So I think we'll sort of leave it there for this week. So we've got a. I don't know about you, but I've got
Jeff,
a busy
pleasure
week
as always. I've been a little bit under the weather. For anybody who's wondering, that's why my voice sounds a little funny. And I asked Jeff to run the show today, because yesterday I don't think I had the energy. I was on phone calls for 3 hours. I was sitting at my desk going, I didn't think I could do it.
And everybody, we do this for fun. So if you're not feeling 100%, we're not going to do it. So, and it's not a lot.
Wait a minute, we do this for fun?
Oh yes, we do. We do this for fun. Now, what we do this for, I keep reminding you, is to justify why we're spending the money on the game in the first place. So at least we can say, well, if we don't, well, at least we could talk about what we've bought and that. So, but I still haven't put my order in yet, but we'll see how it goes anyway.
Yeah, I got mine in. I'm all in.
Anyway, well, thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for the next edition coming up of Tech Down Over. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye for now.
Bye.